Okay guys, continuing from the discussion what we had till now, now we will go to another topic called power set. Now as the name indicates, it must be a set. First of all, power set means it should be a set. Now what type of set? So this is actually a collection of all the subsets, possible subsets of a given set. Now that is a little confusing, right? Definition is small actually. Power set, it is a set of all the subsets of a given set. Now too many sets there in between. Let us see what it means. So I'll take an example which we have already taken. The name of the set I am changing, but this you have seen already. P, Q, R. Right? In previous example we saw. So if three elements are there, number of elements is 3. Right? Cardinality we understood. So what are the possible subsets here? What are the possible subsets? The possible number of subsets are 8. 2 raised to 3. By applying the previous formula, 2 raised to 3 will be the number of subsets. So how many subsets are there? There are 8 subsets, possible subsets. If I write all the 8 possible subsets as the elements of a big set, that set is called power set. Let us note down that. See here. So what is power set of A? This is how we write it. P of A. See, P of A is a power set. Now P of A is read as power set of A. Power set of A. It's read as power set of A and it's defined as P of A is equal to set of all X. Okay. Where what is X? Such that X is a subset of A. This is a simple definition. Power set of A is set of all X such that X is a subset of A. So each element inside this set must be a subset. Means first of all it should be a set and all the elements should be from A itself. So in roster method, this is a rule method. This is a set builder form. In roster form, how does this look? Let us see that now. Okay. P of A is equal to, the first set is null set. I can use the phi also, null set symbol. Then singleton set P. See, all of the elements here, each element must be written in braces because it is a set I am writing. Every element is a set. P, Q, R. Okay, I'll better continue here. Then PQ, PR, QR. Okay, then the last one PQR. And then this. The outside braces what you can see here at the ends is the actual flower brackets for the power set. Inside flower brackets what you can see are all the brackets for the subsets. Now each one is an element. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. True, because see, what is n of A? N of A is 3. Then what is the number of subsets possible? 2 raised to 3. What is 2 raised to 3? 8 of course. So there are 8 elements in the power set. So I can write now number of elements in the power set of A is equal to 2 raised to 3, which is 8. There is a connection between the number of elements of A and number of elements of power set of A. What is that? The power of this, the index value is nothing but the cardinal given set. So let us take few examples directly for seeing the connection between these two. I will not be writing the elements, I will be only giving the cardinality. Okay. Looking at the cardinality, you have to decide the cardinality of the power set. Now, if n of A is equal to 4, what is n of power set of A? 2 raised to this number 4. We can simplify that and find the number. Then n of B is equal to 6. What is n of P of A? that is nothing but 2 raised to this number, that is 6. So in that case, if n of C is equal to x, x, what is n of P of A? That is 2 raised to the same number, x. I hope it is clear. So that is a connection between the number of elements of a set and number of elements in the power set of the same element. Okay everyone, today we will discuss about a new topic in sets, that is intervals. Now what are intervals? See, intervals are small parts that we take out of real numbers. You know real numbers, right? You have discussed about natural numbers, then built on that a little bit more, that is whole numbers. Then we discussed something called as integers. After integers we came across rational numbers, then irrational numbers, and putting them together, rational and irrational together, we have real numbers. Now parts of real numbers, if you take any small parts or few points continuously, if you take from real numbers, that part is called as an interval. Let us try to define what is an interval and how it is connected with sets, and how we can use it to discuss about subsets of real numbers. Okay, so let us start today with the discussion on intervals. Okay, intervals. Now what do you understand when you say interval is, see, you have discussed about interval of time, right, in physics, like from t1 is the initial time and t2 is the final time, then t2 minus t1 is called as the time interval. This we talk about in physics, right? Similarly here, when I talk about any 2 points in real numbers, suppose 2.3 is a real number, then another number is 3.56 is another real number. I'm just taking some arbitrary values here. Now all the real numbers in between this, if you consider, then this total part can be called as an interval, or this part which is within these two numbers, those all numbers possible. What are possible numbers here? 2.3, then what is that? 2.3, 2.31, 2.301, probably smaller than that, 2.30000001, or 2.30000002. There are infinite numbers here. Between 2.3 and 3.56 we have infinite numbers. All those real numbers, rational as well as irrational, all together is called as interval. So there are different kinds of interval. So I can say basically, if I take any interval I, it is a subset of real numbers. Okay, it is a subset of real numbers. Real numbers is too huge, right? It extends from infinity to minus infinity. Sorry about this. It's from positive infinity to negative infinity. So we are now talking about small parts taken within that real numbers. Each part again has infinite elements. Now let us look at those intervals. Okay. Now if I consider any two arbitrary numbers belonging to real numbers, any two numbers from real numbers I am taking, then we can define an interval. We can define an interval such that, see, this is how I denote an interval. A and B are the first starting and the ending points. Okay, so this is a subset of R. This part is subset of R. Okay, we'll define this as all those points. I could take X or Y, anything. Okay, so Y such that Y should lie between A and B, means Y is here, it lies between two limits, upper and lower one. It is bounded on the lower side by A, on the upper side by B, and where A and B both are from real numbers. Then all those numbers coming in between A and B, but see, strictly greater than A and strictly lesser than B, means A and B are not involved in this. When I write like this, A and B are not included. If A and B are excluded, for example, let us talk about natural numbers. It is easy to understand. If I write 2 lesser than Y lesser than 4 in natural numbers I am talking about, then what is the number possible here? The only possible number is 3. Why not 2 and 4? because strictly the number should be greater than 2. It cannot be equal to, greater than 2. And it should be strictly lesser than 4. Which are the numbers? Only 3. Whereas, had I put an equal to sign here, now it should be strictly greater than 2. So 3 is a number. 4, yes, of course possible, because the number can be equal to 4. So 3 and 4 both would be included here if I put this symbol. Okay. Whereas if it is strictly lesser than 4, then the only possible answer is 3. Right. Now let us see the different definitions here. So this is called an open interval. An open interval. So as we know the antonyms in English, if open interval is there, there must be a closed interval, right? So let's go for a closed interval. What do you mean by closed interval? See, closed interval, instead of small brackets, I'll be using big brackets, a comma b, both sides big brackets. The definition goes like this: set of all x such that x lies between a and b, but this time small change, not strictly lesser and strictly greater, it is greater than or equal to or lesser than equal to. So that is the small difference. So this time a and b are also included in this interval. This type of intervals are called closed intervals. If we compare with the natural numbers, if I write like this, 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 4. Now, which all values are possible? See, since it is x can be equal to 2 also, 2 is there. 3, yes, greater than 2, so 3 can be there. Is 3 lesser than or equal to 4? Yes. 4, yes, 4 also can be taken because it is equal to 4. So the possible answers will be 2, 3 and 4, correct? So this is the definition for closed interval. That makes it better. Now, is it possible that you add that number on one side and the other side you can leave it, or you leave it on one side and take it, consider it on the other side? That is also possible. They are called semi-open and semi-closed intervals. Let us have a look at that now. Semi-open and semi-closed intervals. So, what is a semi-open interval? Semi-open interval is open on one side but closed on the next side. So how do you define this? Set of all x such that, okay, a less than, strictly less than x, which is less than or equal to b, where a and b belongs to R. Now this is the definition for a semi-open interval. So how can you compare this with natural numbers? I'll just compare with natural numbers always because it's easy to understand. But we are here considering only real numbers, because real numbers means it's a huge collection. It is an infinite set. Whereas natural numbers, there are some finite points. But it is easy to understand natural numbers. So I'm taking natural numbers now. So if I take the same, 2 less than x less than or equal to 4. Now what are the answers possible? Strictly greater than 2. So the number should be 3 probably. Yes. And can I take 4? Yes, because equal to 4 is also there. So this will be the difference. Instead of only 3, here it will be 3 and 4. The upper boundary is included, but the lower bound is not included. Then going for semi-closed interval. So what is a semi-closed interval? Okay. A semi-closed interval is, first it is a closed interval, a comma, guess what next? You're right, it's an open interval on the other side. So if I define them as y, set of all y such that a less than or equal to y, which is strictly less than b, and a comma b should be real numbers. In this case, if I compare it with natural numbers and speak, see, I'm only comparing with natural numbers, but it is not defined for natural numbers. This is defined for real numbers, okay? I'm just taking examples of natural numbers. So if it is 2 less than or equal to x less than 4, in that case now, what do you see? 2, is it included? Yes, 2 is taken. 3, yes, that's also there. 4, no, because 4, strictly less than 4 is. So this time the set will be 2, 3. There is a small difference there. Here the lower boundary is considered inside and included, whereas the upper boundary is excluded. So that is the difference. Just to understand this concept comparatively, we will compare with some numbers here. I will take some numbers from natural numbers, but the definition is not for natural numbers, it is for real numbers. It's only for your understanding. Now, let us see all the 4 possibilities. If I take 3, 6, okay, which are these numbers? These are the numbers, okay, set of all x such that 3 strictly less than x less than 6. You could better use this side of the board so that completely we can write. So now let me take some examples from natural numbers. 3, 6. So you can see that these brackets indicate it's open on both sides. Open interval means we exclude both the lower and upper limit. So how do you define that? X such that 3 less than x strictly less than 6. This is from natural numbers I am talking. Natural numbers. So which are those numbers? 3 should not be included, 6 should not be included. 4 and 5. This is how it looks, an open interval. These two numbers will not be visible at all here. Whereas a closed interval, 3, 6, same numbers I have taken so that we can compare. Set of x such that 3 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 6. Now tell me what are the values possible? 3, 4, 5, 6. Because here both of them are also included. The lower bound and the upper bound will be found inside the set when you write it in roster method. What about semi-open? 3, 6 closed. Now what is that? How do you define that? X set of all x such that 3 strictly less than x, here it is big brackets, so less than or equal to 6, which is equal to, now 3 cannot be included, whereas 4, 5, 6 will be included. Let us go for the last type, that is semi-closed. 3, 6 open on the other side. In this case, what can you say about x? It is 3 less than or equal to x strictly less than 6. What is the change here that we can see? The lower limit is included as 3, 4, 5, but the upper limit will not be seen here. This is I am taking with examples of natural numbers, but if I am considering real numbers, in that case it will not be 4 and 5. It will be all the numbers between 3 and 6. Like we can start from 3.0000000 infinite times 1 to 5.999999999 till infinity. That much big numbers. So those all numbers in between can be considered excluding 3 and 6. So they are not points. If I mark it on number line, they are not points. They are actually the whole line itself. All the infinite points will be taken. See, when you are taking number line on integers, you mark like this: 1, 2, 3. These are specific points where the numbers arrive, right? In between, we don't have any numbers. But when you're talking about a number line of real numbers, all these points are taken. All the points on the line are considered. Between any 2 points, there are infinite points. Suppose I take 1.5 and 1.6. Okay, in between you have 1.51, 1.52, 1.53, like that 1.59, 1.6. Okay, what about 1.11 and 1.12? Between them you have again 1.111, 1.112, 1.113, like that 1.119 and 1.12 it happens. Considering 1.111 and 1.112, again you have 1.1111 and 1.11112, 1.1113, like that you can go on with this and it will never stop. So there are all the points here, infinite number of points on this line, and we will be considering the whole line itself, not in between points. The whole line will be taken when you are considering real numbers. Okay, let us see how graphically using number line we can denote these four. That is, first one, open, close, semi-open, semi-closed. We are going to check all these four categories using number line. Now let us look at the number lines to understand that intervals in a pictorial way. Okay. Now let me write. First one is open interval. Right. Open interval looks like this: A, comma, B. Okay. On a number line, we show it like this. If this is a number line which extends on both sides, because real numbers on both directions, it is on one side it is positive infinity, other side it is minus infinity. It extends till there. In between, if I take 2 points A and B, this A will be shown with a circle with an empty space inside. A and B. These are the 2 points. It indicates it is an open interval because we have shown 2 small dots which are empty inside. And in case you are talking about closed interval, okay, A, comma, B. In this case, if this is A and this is B, point A, we darken that small circle found inside here. So you should be very careful when you do this, because this is such a minute detail that many people go wrong with this. There are other ways also, but see, there is a confusion because we have seen this symbol in physics, I suppose, in circuit diagrams. You draw something like this for a closed switch and open switch. So there is a confusion possible, and some people draw a circle and put a dot. No, properly shade it so that this is easily understandable. This is open and this is closed. Let's go with that. So semi-open, right? Semi-open is open on one end, A, comma, B, closed on the other end. How does that look? If this is, it did not come very straight, it's a curved line. Okay, let's try to improve that since I'm not using a ruler here. I hope you'll pardon me for this. Okay, now on this side it's open, so like open one, we'll have a clear circle without shading it, and on the other B end we'll have a circle which will be shaded properly, so that this is A, this is B. This is pictorially understanding. Using a number line, we can understand open and one side is closed. What is the last option left is semi-closed. So that I hope you can write it even before I continue in the video. Yes, please. So we have 2 points, A and B. A being the closed part, so we'll shade that part. Too big, I think. We just need a small circle there. Okay, small one is enough. And then on the other side, small circle which is not shaded, the unshaded one. This is A and this is B. So the first one is the closed part. Let there be no mistake in that. And the second part is open. This is pictorially showing intervals which are subsets of real numbers on number line. So which is the selected part is, this whole thing is selected, this part. Here also this whole part, right? Here the dots are also shaded, means included. Here it is, this part is not included, only this part, right? I am darkening this part. So we darken these points, showing that these are selected points. The other point lines, the remaining part of the line is not darkened. This is how we show intervals. Remember, this should be clear. This side also, it should be clear. Only the shaded part of the line which you see here, the darkened line, that is the interval, selected interval. Here, the selected interval including the points. Here, selected interval with the point at the end. Here, selected interval with the point at the beginning. Okay. And the last one point you should remember about all this is the length of the interval. Whenever we talk about length of the interval, we will not mind any difference between all these four. There will be no difference. The length is always given by the upper limit minus the lower limit, or the higher upper bound and the lower bound. The higher bound is b, subtract the lower bound a from that, b minus a. When you subtract, that answer what you get is the length of the interval. All the four, there is no difference. Even if you are looking at an open interval or a semi-closed or semi-open or closed interval, all the time the length is always given by b minus a. Just subtract b minus a, you will get the length of the interval. We do not bifurcate between the types of interval when we talk about length of the interval. Thank you.